The story begins with Akane and her boyfriend Takuma in a coffee shop. Takuma confesses that he's fallen for someone he met in an online game and wants to break up with Akane. This sudden news upsets Akane, who goes home and narrates the whole story to her best friend, Momo. She tells her that previously she used to play that online game Forest of Savior, FOS for short, with Takuma, but now that they have broken up, he's even asking her to return his in-game gifts. Momo advises Akane to cheer up and not skip her classes, suggesting that getting out of her room will help. Momo leaves for her classes, and Akane checks the game to see if Takuma has retrieved the items and discovers that he also unfriended her in the game. Frustrated, Akane starts doing hunting missions in the game to vent her anger. During her in-game mission, she encounters another character named Afro Yamada. Akane says hello to him, but Yamada responds coldly. He asks if she is searching for an extremely rare item called the Prophet Stone, but Akane denies it and tells him the story of her breakup. Yamada suggests she let him have the hunting ground if she's not after the rare item. Akane becomes angry and refuses to leave the area, asserting that she arrived first. Yamada says he is not interested in her stories, which agitates Akane further, leading her to lash out. She eventually calms down, but receives a notification about a nearby game event. The game triggers pleasant memories from her past with Takuma, and this makes her shed tears. Akane goes to college for her classes, where Momo welcomes her, and she quickly informs Momo that they need to go shopping so she can look her best for the event, hoping to make Takuma regret leaving her. Akane undergoes a complete makeover and arrives at the event to find it crowded. She spots Takuma with his new girlfriend, prompting her to rush towards them, and in her haste, she accidentally bumps into a guy and falls. After getting up, Akane apologizes, but the boy dismisses her, saying he is not interested, and she recognizes the line from the game. She asks if he is Yamada, and just then, Takuma appears and gets completely shocked, but his shock isn't about Akane. Instead, he's a big fan of Yamada, who is a famous pro gamer. Takuma watches all of Yamada's live streams and tournaments. He even tells Yamada that he will be rooting for him in the next tournament and would make sure to watch all his matches to show his support. To gain Takuma's attention, Akane quickly links arms with Yamada, claiming they're on a date. She quickly persuades Yamada to play along by offering him the hint about Prophet's Stone, a rare item, in return. Takuma is left feeling dejected, and Akane briefly feels victorious. However, as she observes Takuma's genuine affection for his new girlfriend, she feels sad again. Later that night, Yamada and Akane find themselves at a diner. Yamada wants to leave, but Akane asks him to stay because she doesn't want to be alone. Tears fill her eyes as she explains her motive for attending the event, seeking revenge on Takuma, who left her due to his new girlfriend. Trying to change the mood, Akane inquires about what a pro gamer is. Yamada tells her it's someone who is sponsored to play games. Akane suggests he should be more relaxed to have a chance at romance, but Yamada surprises her by saying he's never had a girlfriend and isn't interested in romance despite his good looks. Akane excuses herself to use the restroom, regretting her decision to attend the event. Returning to the table, she finds it empty. Thinking that Yamada left her makes her eyes well up with tears. But Yamada reappears, explaining he bought band-aids for her scraped ankle. Overwhelmed, Akane bursts into tears and suggests they drink heavily. The next morning, she wakes up and is shocked to find herself in Yamada's bed, who is playing the game next to her. Yamada approaches Akane, who has just woken up but feels overwhelmed by his presence, causing her to fall off the bed. She quickly asks if they had a one-night stand, but Yamada clarifies that after drinking too much, she fell asleep in the restaurant. Since he didn't know where she lived, he decided to bring her to his apartment rather than leave her on the streets, which seemed inhumane. He explains that he washed her vomit-covered dress and hung it to dry. Akane promptly pays him back for the restaurant bill, retrieves her dress, and leaves. Back home, she takes a shower and realizes she's no longer wearing her necklace. She searches everywhere but can't find it, so she logs into the game, greets Ruri, the guildmaster, and looks for Yamada, but he's offline. She remembers the necklace was her first gift from Takuma and shares the story with Ruri. However, when Yamada logs in, he and Ruri become deeply engrossed in discussing the game and upcoming missions, leaving Akane no opportunity to inquire about her necklace. Deciding she can't jump into the group chat, she uses a private chat and asks Yamada if he has seen her necklace, but he denies seeing it. During the group conversation, Yamada mentions someone filling the guild's chest with useless items, and Ruri speculates it might be a beginner trying to help others. Yamada criticizes the items as trash, and when Akane confesses that it was her contribution, he bluntly tells her to keep her trash to herself. Ruri tries to reassure Akane that it's a good thing to do, but feeling hurt, Akane logs out. As Yamada gets up from his PC, he accidentally steps on something, which turns out to be Akane's necklace, now broken into 2 pieces. Later, Akane lies in bed cursing Yamada before falling asleep and dreaming about Takuma and his new girlfriend. The next day, she shares the dream with Momo, who teases Akane for still thinking about Takuma. Akane tries to shift her thoughts to Yamada, but is reminded of her missing necklace. Momo suggests she should forget about Takuma. In the evening, as Akane arrives at the subway station, she witnesses a high school girl pouring her heart out in a confession to someone. This triggers bittersweet memories of her high school days when she confessed to a senior. She reminisces about the fun of being a teenager when the guy the high school girl is confessing to coldly tells her to finish what she's saying as he has to leave. Akane realizes it's Yamada from his voice and rushes over to him, urging him to return to the high schooler as the least he can do is listen to her confession. She notices that Yamada is wearing a school uniform and he confirms that he is a high school senior. He admits he wanted to see her and hands her the broken necklace, apologizing for breaking it. Akane tells him not to worry about it since she plans to discard it anyway. She dashes out into the rain and Yamada follows, giving her an umbrella and insisting she doesn't have to return it. Back at home, several couriers arrive with boxes and a note from Akane's mother stating she's creating a training room out of Akane's old bedroom and is therefore sending Akane all her stuff. Akane starts panicking and calls Momo for help. Momo advises her to get rid of things she no longer needs, as Akane tends to hold on to stuff. Realizing this, Akane discards most items, declaring she no longer needs them. Akane and Momo head to a bar for a drink. Around midnight, Yamada's doorbell rings repeatedly. He opens the door to find Akane and Momo both visibly drunk. Akane mentions returning the umbrella, but Yamada reassures her that she doesn't need to, while Momo clings to Yamada, asking for his hand in marriage. Akane explains that she used the umbrella as an excuse to thank him for being there on the event day. She then takes Momo home, but Yamada stops Akane, advising her to log into the game because Ruri is worried about her, and Akane promises to log in soon. Momo arranges a double date to help Akane move on, but Akane feels uncomfortable during the outing as she feels no connection with her date. On the way back, Momo questions whether Akane is even trying to move on, noting that she was on her phone throughout the date. Akane explains that she received a text from her online friend Ruri. Momo tells Akane to be cautious when sharing personal information online, warning that Ruri might not be a girl but some old man. Back home, Akane realizes she doesn't have morning classes the next day and decides to spend the night playing FOS. She logs in to find no one in the guild room except Yamada and Ruri chatting outside. Ruri mentioned when it was just her and Yamada in the guild, expressing her fondness for the guild members but missing doing missions with just him. Yamada agrees, saying it's easier with just the two because they both play well together. Akane feels awkward about joining the conversation but is noticed by Yamada, so Ruri warmly welcomes her. Yamada mentions he has to do something and logs out, with Ruri saying she'll call him later, which makes Akane suspect that they might be dating. This realization oddly saddens her. The following day, Akane attends her evening classes and happens to find the guy from the group date in her class. They walk to the subway together, but Akane is uninterested in the conversation, especially when she spots a cute girl walking with Yamada. She can't help but wonder why this sight upsets her. Back home, Akane lies on her bed reading magazines when Ruri messages her. Ruri invites Akane to a new FOS collaboration cafe opening near their location and mentions running into Yamada unexpectedly at the subway. She invites all guild members to join them. Akane wonders if the girl she saw with Yamada was Ruri and decides to attend. The next morning, Akane quickly gets ready and leaves for the cafe but struggles to find its location. Eventually, a man named Aida accidentally bumps into her, causing her phone to fall. Aida offers to show her the way to the FOS cafe, but becomes overly enthusiastic about discussing the game's settings and graphics during the journey. Upon reaching the cafe, Akane rushes towards Yamada, but Ruri arrives and links arms with him. Akane greets Ruri, but Ruri responds with a cold stare and questions Aida about Akane's identity. Aida introduces her, and there's also a short old man who hides behind a post nearby. Yamada gets a flashback of when Akane got drunk and he took her home. That night, Akane eventually clung to him before crying her heart out, making Yamada wonder how cruel love can be to someone so nice. As they all sit in the cafe, adorned with FOS posters and the theme song playing in the background, Akane can't help but wonder about the characters of Aida and the old man. She finally decides to ask Ruri about their character names. Surprisingly, the girl clarifies that her character isn't Ruri and is curious about Akane's identity. This shocks Akane, and the girl questions why she's sitting with their guild meeting. Yamada quickly intervenes, suggesting that they all introduce themselves before ordering food. Aida starts by introducing himself as a 19-year-old gamer whose character name is Ruri. Akane is about to use the term nakame, referring to men who pose as women online to deceive other female players, but Aida explains that Ruri is his muse. He's not deceiving or using it maliciously. He sees Ruri as his alter ego, fostering a creative relationship with the character. Akane stands up, reminding him that she gave him her number and sought advice after her breakup, but Aida assures her that it's fine since she confided in Ruri and Ruri is his online persona who is different from Aida. Next up is the old man, Takezo Kamoda, whose character name is Takezo. He mentions that he's mostly on dungeon missions, so he has yet to cross paths with Akane in the game. He introduces the girl as Runa, Aida's younger sister and the model for Ruri's character. Kamoda is about to introduce Yamada, but Akane already knows him, which piques Runa's interest. Runa asks how Akane knows Yamada, and she replies that they met at an event. Runa gives Akane cold stares, prompting Akane to tell Yamada that she initially thought he and Ruri were flirting, but later realized it was Aida. Yamada explains that when Aida is in Ruri's character, he has to flirt and accept Ruri's affections because Aida is his senior and ordered him to let Ruri be separate from Aida. Akane mentions she thought he was lying about not having a girlfriend, to which Yamada assures her that he would never lie. Akane expresses her relief, but she's left wondering why she's relieved when Runa starts questioning if she likes Yamada. Aida intervenes to stop his sister, but Runa responds by calling Aida a nekama, which makes Akane step in, asking the siblings not to fight. Kamoda changes the topic, asking everyone what they want to order. During their conversation, Akane notices Yamada looking at her, which makes her flustered, and she accidentally drops the glass. She hurriedly tries to pick it up, but Yamada grabs her hand quickly so she doesn't hurt herself. He asks her to leave it and let the staff handle it. Yamada and Aida then excuse themselves to go to the restroom. Kamoto expresses his relief that Akane is not hurt and explains that they all played a game before this one. So when FOS became popular, Aida suggested they create a guild in this new game and they all agreed. He mentions that Runa plays a lot less and logs in once in 3 months and reveals that Aida was interested in meeting Akane today, which prompts Runa to question if Akane is interested in her brother. Akane quickly denies any such intentions. Outside, Yamada sits alone and Aida approaches him, asking why he lied earlier. Yamada admits he needed to be out of Akane's sight for a while. Aida mentions that Akane is pretty and Yamada says she resembles her game character. Aida comments that she appears more mature in person and suggests that Yamada should pay more attention to such details if he ever wants to have a girlfriend. He remarks that Yamada's indifference toward girls is quite odd. This triggers a vague childhood flashback in Yamada's mind, where he watched the little girl cry. The meeting concludes and they all decide to head home. Aida and Yamada converse with Akane while Runa tells Kamoda that she dislikes Akane and intends to ensure Akane is kicked out of their guild. Akane asks Yamada if they can go home together since they are heading in the same direction. However, during the bus ride, they stand awkwardly and Akane's attempts at conversation are met with single-word responses from Yamada. As the bus hits a bumpy road, Akane stumbles into Yamada, prompting him to switch places with her so she can hold on to the handrail. The other girls on the bus can't help but stare at Yamada, making Akane realize that he is indeed very good looking. Akane asks him what he is having for dinner, and he replies that he'll eat pudding. Initially thinking he's joking, Akane is surprised to see him buy a single pudding at the convenience store. She inquires if he lives alone, and he confirms that he never cooks and mainly relies on convenience store food. Although she feels sad for him, she doesn't press further. She suddenly asks him to wait 10 minutes and assures him she'll return quickly. Quickly going home, Akane packs some food she prepared earlier and runs back out to give it to Yamada, explaining that money is tight so the meal only has a little meat. Yamada initially refuses, but she insists, saying he needs to eat properly to stay healthy. Shortly after, Akane receives a call from Runa, who apologizes for her earlier rudeness and asks if Akane would like to hang out. Akane eagerly agrees and they plan to meet next Saturday. Meanwhile, Yamada goes home and looks at his calendar, which reminds him that he was supposed to tutor Runa this Saturday. However, he dismisses it, thinking he might have heard it wrong. On Saturday, Aida calls Yamada and asks if he is coming over to tutor Runa. Yamada is shocked by the plan, but confirms that he will be on time. Meanwhile, Akane arrives at the meeting spot, where Runa asks her to meet up at a cafe. However, at the cafe, another guy approaches her and insists that he knows Akane is Ruri. Akane tries to deny it, but he doesn't listen. Runa texts Akane that she will be late and suggests she hangs out with her gamer friend instead. Feeling overwhelmed, Akane rushes to the restroom for some privacy. Yamada arrives at Runa's house and she welcomes him. When he asks if she has any plans for the day, she denies having any. Suddenly, her phone rings with Akane's call. On the other hand, Akane is sitting in the restroom, relieved that she is not stuck with a stranger. However, the stranger enters the restroom and knocks on her cubicle. She quickly tells him to leave, reminding him that it's the ladies' restroom. He tries to twist the knob to open the door, causing Akane to freak out. Runa informs Yamada that she texted a random Ruri fan from Aida's account to meet Akane. Yamada gets worried and asks her about the meeting location, to which Runa questions why he cares. Yamada explains that she doesn't realize how dangerous the situation could become. He opens the door and Aida enters with snacks. Yamada tells Aida about the situation, and Aida checks his account to confirm that Runa indeed texted a Ruri fan to meet Akane. As they search for the address, Runa sits behind them, looks at old photographs from when it was just the four of them, and wishes that Akane never showed up. Komoda also arrives after he learns from Aida about the situation. Inside Komoda's car, Aida tells Runa that she should apologize to Akane when they find her. However, Runa refuses, claiming she already has 300 online friends and doesn't need more. Aida scolds her, explaining that Akane tried to be her friend and Runa still treated her badly. They reach the spot and find Akane sitting with the man. Before Yamada can call out to her, Komodo, having misunderstood Aida that Akane has been kidnapped by a man, quickly approaches and warns the man that threats won't work on him as he has a lawyer friend and insists that the man leaves Akane alone. Yamada and Aida arrive and ask Akane if she's okay. Yamada notices the bandage on her leg and questions it. The stranger explains that he followed Akane to the restroom, which caused her injury. Aida confronts the man by grabbing his collar, but he clarifies that he thought Akane had fainted in the restroom and went to check on her. When he passed her some medicine from below the door, she got startled and hit her leg on the commode. Aida tells him that a man should never go into a female restroom. Akane thanks Yamada for coming to her help. He apologizes, saying he should have told her he tutors Runa on Saturdays. Akane takes it positively, assuming Runa had to study and couldn't come. She tries to approach Runa, who is standing a bit away. When they make eye contact, Runa starts to run away. Akane quickly gets up to chase after her, but hits her shin on a chair, causing her to lie in pain. Hearing Akane cry out, Runa stops and runs back toward her, asking if she's hurt. She's about to apologize, but Aida interrupts, saying Runa needs a big lecture. Yamada tells Runa that she's not saving her this time because she pulled a dangerous prank and needs to be punished for it. Aida begins to drag Runa away, but Akane stops them, saying her stomach hurts badly. She suggests that Aida go to a nearby pharmacy a few blocks away to get medicine for her. Akane asks Yamada and Komoda to go with Aida. After they leave, Runa feels scared, thinking Akane will yell at her. However, Akane just asks her about her level in the game. Runa tells her that she has the highest level. Akane mentions they can't hunt together because her lower level might cause damage to Runa's character. Runa quickly suggests she has another beginner's account from which they can hunt together. Runa feels ashamed and asks Akane how she can pretend nothing happened when Runa ditched her just because she didn't like her. She thought Akane would leave the guild if she found someone weird stalking her from the game. But Akane reassures her that she won't lecture her as she comes to make friends. Runa starts to weep and apologizes for being mean. On the way back from buying medicine, Aida ponders how he can help Runa become more sociable, as she used to be a nice child, but now she's becoming a bully. As they return, they come upon a scene of Akane comforting Runa and offering her tissues to stop crying. Later, Yamada asks Akane if it was annoying to be fooled by Runa's prank. Akane admits she was disappointed and angry that she couldn't hang out with Runa as planned. However, she also mentions that she feels accomplished because she has now become friends with Runa. Suddenly, the man from earlier returns with flowers, and Akane tells him to go home already. Runa used to be a child who got love and attention from everyone easily, so she believed that she didn't need to do anything to gain love. However, this resulted in her not having any friends at school and getting bullied by seniors. She had many online friends, which made her indifferent to real-life socializing. Many boys had a crush on her, but because of her gothic dressing style, they felt awkward talking to her. She would see other girls joking around in class, but lacked the courage to join them. Recently, Runa has become friends with Akane and started visiting her home. Even though Akane is more mature than most girls her age, Runa feels comfortable around her. She knows that Akane is nice to her even when she is mean, and having a female friend brings her a different excitement. Runa realizes that having more carefree friends like Akane would be nice. One day, Akane sees news that a TV show featuring her favorite actor is being shot near their subway station, and they decide to go and see if they can catch a glimpse of him. On their way back from the station, Akane spots a group dancing on the street. Runa is confused about why anyone would dance on the street, and Akane suggests that they join them. Runa starts thinking that having more friends like Akane, who is carefree and fun-loving, would positively change her. Later, Momo visits Akane's apartment to complain about not having a boyfriend. However, Akane is busy playing FOS with Runa, helping her increase her level. Momo asks Akane why Runa is always there, and Akane explains that Runa fought with her brother, making being at home awkward for her. Runa tells Momo to go back to her apartment if she's bothered, and Momo scolds Runa for meddling with adults. Momo asks about Akane's relationship with Yamada, and Akane tells her that there is nothing romantic between them. Yamada has added her as a friend in the game, but doesn't go hunting with her because it's not profitable for him. However, he surprisingly helps her with equipment. Runa chimes in, saying nothing is surprising about it as Yamada has always been helpful and even tutored her for free. Suddenly, Yamada logs in and Akane shows off her new shoes to him. He tells her the shoes aren't suitable for her character's role in the game, but Akane brushes it off, saying she'll hunt for materials that are helpful to her character. Yamada wishes her good luck with a smiley emoji. Suddenly, Momo interrupts their gaming session and urges Akane to stop playing games and go out with her. Just as they are about to leave, Akane's laptop shuts down and starts smoking. Back at home, Runa tells Aida about Akane's laptop issue and how sad she seemed about it. Aida calls Yamada, who is trying to sleep but finally answers the call. Aida informs him that Akane's laptop is broken, and Yamada denies having a spare old laptop. Aida suggests that Yamada take a look at it, and the following Saturday, after Runa's tutoring session, Runa takes Yamada to Akane's place. Akane thinks it's just Yamada visiting, so she shouldn't feel awkward, and asks if she should cook lunch. They both encourage her to do so, and Yamada even compliments the curry she gave him. Runa remembers how when Akane first joined the guild, Aida thought Akane and Yamada would make a great couple, and sends him a picture of Akane and Yamada sitting close together. Aida suggests that it would be nice to see a romantic comedy between them. Runa pushes Akane onto Yamada to create romantic tension, and her hair gets in her eyes. Akane quickly holds Yamada's face to see which eye her hair got into, and both of them get flustered. Akane apologizes and backs off, while Yamada excuses himself, saying he'll return to get the equipment to fix the laptop. Akane worries that she made Yamada uncomfortable.